Welcome to Fanarchy with Rivet, the show made for emerging music artists. Join us as we chat with music's finest, sharing expert insights and personal journeys for growing your fan base and building stronger connections with your supporters. If you're an emerging artist, stay tuned.
All right, welcome guys. I'm surprised that you all were expecting someone else, but it's my first time hosting the pod, and I couldn't think of a better person to bring on as my first interview than Sanj here. What I find really impressive is when artists find ways to blend their identities into their music, and my co-founder Sanj does this with his music, and I was really excited to talk with you because I think you do a lot of the same, and it's really foundational to the niche that you've created with your music. So
thank you. Also, Anj and Sanj.
I know.
That's iconic.
I've heard that all week. Anytime I talk about you, they think I'm talking about him,
Anj.
and vice versa.
That's funny.
But yeah. But before all of that, welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's been like 5 months, so I'm happy to be here. I feel like this is the best building I've ever been to in Chicago. So
it is nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Great office.
Are you excited about the show tonight?
I am so excited. I have never done a show in Chicago before, like weirdly, because I'm from Chicago. I'm from the suburbs, and right after college, I like moved out and I went to LA, and now I'm in New York. So being able to bring together just like my hometown friends, like hometown fans, and just like everyone in one room tonight is it's gonna be great. And at a great venue too, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Do you have any sense of what performing in Chicago will be like and how that's different from New York and elsewhere?
That's such a good question. I actually have a feeling it's gonna feel very warm and very just like home. You know, it's gonna feel like a lot of the songs I've written allude to Chicago in some way. They're like, it's very intertwined with themes and elements from like growing up here and from the suburbs. So it's gonna feel like just really heartwarming to sing those songs, knowing that I'm where they're about, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think in New York there's a different vibe. It's very much more like, not high stakes, but just it's quick, fast paced. It's very like, you get in, you get out, like you have to entertain the crowd. And I mean, a lot of the people that come to my shows are people that have seen me just online, like they're not people I personally know, or just new people. So it's a much different kind of atmosphere where a lot more, I mean, I wouldn't say nerves, but just a lot more like adrenaline running. But I feel just very confident and excited about being home tonight and performing.
Yeah, we're really excited to all get to be a part of it. We've been hyping up the entire office around this for the last few weeks.
Yay.
So
I'm so glad you guys can come. It'll be great.
Yeah. It's always great to be able to come to the shows of users on the platform. I feel like it's a different behind-the-scenes experience to experience both the fan management side and what you're dealing with there, but then also how it all turns out when you're on stage and actually interacting with fans. It's also just, I imagine it's so different interacting with fans in person versus
oh my gosh
the digital experience.
Honestly, it's like what keeps me motivated. I feel like every time I have a show and there's someone that comes up to me and they're like, we drove from like New Jersey all the way to New York tonight to see you. I was like, it just blows my mind. I'm like, how? Like, that's crazy to me. So I think those moments are always just like the most special moments whenever I feel like I want to like, I don't know, whenever I feel discouraged or just like frustrated with anything along the journey, I think about those moments and I'm like, I just got to keep going because people are great when they like really care.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the fan moments have been very like eye-opening for me for sure.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's actually what I'm really, really curious to learn more about from you. I think there's a ton of content online that talks about like the genre you've created, the kind of music you're creating, but I'm curious about what that transition was like going from making music to realizing it was something that you could do seriously and actually building an audience around it, figuring out like what it would mean to perform at shows. Mm-hmm. What was the process turning it into something serious?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, so I've been making music since like 2019.
Okay.
And a couple of my first projects were kind of experimental, me trying to figure out my sound. And then in between, I took like a year break from making original music and I started posting like Bollywood, Hollywood mashups on TikTok. And so I did that for a year. And I think during that time, I really cultivated this like organic fan base that was super interested in this kind of fusion genre because it was like they were hearing elements of like R&B, but then they were also hearing like Hindi lyrics with like kind of that Hindustani Carnatic style, and then like Bollywood movie kind of like just like allusions into the stuff I was doing. So they were very curious about like the sound itself. And it wasn't just Indian people. It was like everyone. Like it was people of all walks and ethnicities and like backgrounds. And that was what was really interesting me. I was like, there is a market for this. And it could really be similar to like what the Latin industry looks like now and what like the K-pop industry looks like. And I think that like the South Asian kind of Indian like roots is up next for us. And so I decided to really kind of like use that to my advantage because it's the type of music I love making. And so that's when I started taking it seriously as like okay, I'm going to really focus on this genre. I'm going to create a project that really dives deep into the elements of what this genre could be and then perform it everywhere. Because I already had the fan base from social media. So I just really plugged like every show I had through social media. And I was like, come here, come here. I went to like, I was in New York, I went to LA, I went to like Florida, I went to Texas. Like I really tried to get every opportunity possible to perform. And I think that I was able to like bring people out and get them to see how it sounds live. And people loved the live experience because you hear the energy in the crowd when they hear like that Bollywood song they like grew up listening to, or that style of music that they never usually see at a show, but they're like, oh my God, this is like happening at like a really cool venue in New York. You know, like that's something that people didn't think would happen. So I think that was really a journey, like kind of championing social media to bring like my listeners and people from TikTok and Instagram to come out to these live shows and different hubs and just like creating a base that way and then executing a project that really exemplified like the genre in my own way, in my own style.
What did you find challenging or interesting, if at all, about that process going from like, I'm talking to you on TikTok to, hey, I want to bring you out and actually convince you to come watch me? Was that hard?
It was, so I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was definitely different. Like I hadn't experienced anything like that before. And I think that since I'd built up kind of like hype around it on TikTok, it wasn't hard to convince people to come out, but it was really different being like on camera, making a TikTok video and then being on stage and like singing that sort of music. Because the type of music I used to sing was just like pretty much R&B. It was very like, I mean, if you listen, it's not different style wise, like to my new music, but there wasn't any really Indian like elements. It was very much just like what like my normal bread and butter R&B stuff. And so coming with this like new fusion sound, I had to create sets and curate sets that were just like very different than what I usually do and be able to captivate like different people in the crowd. So like people that are Indian, but also people who are just like have listened to like a mashup and were intrigued and like come out and have to like, maybe they don't know Hindi or maybe they don't know the Bollywood movies, but I still want to keep them like entertained. So it was definitely a unique experience curating those sets and making it friendly to different people. And also being able to keep like energy and momentum up. But it was such a like rewarding experience. And I think the only way I got better was just by continuously doing it. So I did like 20 plus shows like last year itself. This year I kind of settled down a little bit just because of like the album release and everything. But last year I was on it, man. We were just like every week I was doing a different show and bringing out different people. And it was just like reps, honestly. And now I feel super confident with like being able to pull off that sort of set.
With Rivet, you can put your fan engagement on autopilot, deepen your fan relationships, and take your sales all the way up. Join our exclusive beta today at rivet.app and take your community and creative business to the next level for free.
And you touched on this briefly about like people coming from different states, different parts of the country to come watch you. What are some other cool things that those fans have done for you?
Oh my gosh. So I think the coolest thing actually is, so I had my album release party in February for Nightingale, which is my debut album. And we marketed it over social media and TikTok. And I partnered with this organization called Brown Girl Mag. And they're like a huge like South Asian kind of female empowerment platform that hosts a lot of events all around the country. And so they sponsored my album release party because they really liked the project and like what it was kind of standing for. And so a lot of people ended up coming to the album release party. And one person in particular, he's an electric engineer. He carved a bird, a nightingale, out of wood, and then engineered the bird to play one of my songs from the album, Devils in the Details.
That is so cool.
So I press a button and it plays the song. I literally have it sitting on my bedside table now. It's like one of the most special gifts I've ever gotten from a fan.
That's amazing.
And I don't know, like I've never met this kid. Like he just showed up to the party. He brought the gift. Like it was like, I like cried. I was like, I cannot believe this is like, you took the time to like do this. Like it could not have been easy. I mean, he's an engineer, so maybe it was easy, but like I was like, oh my God. So that is probably the coolest gift or anything I've received from a fan.
Yeah.
I can't even like find anything else that would top that.
Yeah, that's incredible. I can't imagine how fulfilling that must feel, just in terms of like being able to share content and then seeing that that's how people are
resonate
responding
with it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unreal. Like when I'm making the music and like really just kind of focused and like in the zone, I don't think about how the reception is going to be until like things like that happen. And I kind of forget that like the fans are even there. I'm really just doing it all for myself in a way. Like the music is like my therapy and my expression. And so when I actually put it out, I'm like, oh wait, this is out. Like, you know, I made this for the people. So like, let's see how they resonate. And I'm always a little nervous. So when fans do something like that, I'm like, oh my God, he carved a nightingale, which is the name of the album. He tuned it to play Devil's in the Details, which is like such a special song that like me and Cushy literally wrote together in like 30 minutes. So it's just it was like surreal. That gift was surreal. Yeah. I'll send you a picture of it too. So you can like
to see this.
add it to the screen.
Yeah.
You can give him some credit because he deserves it.
That's amazing. And you said that you did an album listening party or was it a
album
release party?
It was like release/listening.
And was that fans, friends, like all kinds of people?
So like I had a set of friends that came out, which I knew about, but honestly, like it sold out and it was 80% fans. And like people in the community.
Expensive.
What?
Like, that's a testament to your talent.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. It was a mix of fans and like people who like knew my music and wanted to meet me, and like a lot of creators too who just wanted to network, I guess. But it was a very cool mix of people. And like, I mean, again, there were people who came up to me and they're like, yo, I came from like freaking Connecticut. Like that's not easy. We were in like the middle of like Brooklyn and people are coming out from like hours away. And they're like, we're so excited to come to this. I loved your album. I listened to it like midnight when it dropped. I'm like, bro, like I could do this for the rest of my life. And like, that is all I want. And it's just like, I want people to connect to the music and like feel it in their soul, because that's where it came from when I wrote it. It came from my soul. Yeah. So yeah, it's been great. It's been a good journey so far, and I'm excited to just continue.
Yeah. What's something special that you'd like to do for your fans in the future?
I would love to. I think the biggest thing that I haven't done yet is, so like obviously I make music and the music I make is very niche, but there's a lot of other artists who are also making kind of similar music or music that like would inspire them in the same way. Mm-hmm. I would love to put together like some sort of showcase with artists like that maybe don't have the platform I do, but like deserve a platform and deserve like visibility to people who would want to listen to that music. So I think that's like one of the next things I want to plan in the coming year, I guess, like have a showcase in New York, have a showcase maybe in Chicago or like in LA, and bring out some of these other like POC fusion artists. Doesn't even have to be Indian artists, but like Nigerian fusion or like Middle East, or like there's so many different like genres that are coming out of the woodwork, and being able to do a showcase like that would be so fun for me. Because again, for me, it's about the music. It's like I want to listen to other people's renditions of their cultures, and like I want to show them mine, but I want it to be a place where we can all collaborate and just like enjoy the music together and learn from each other. So I think that's something I would want to put on and like at least extend to like my fans and listeners so they can also enjoy it too.
Yeah. Anyone that crosses your mind as someone you'd want to perform on that show?
Oh my God, where do I begin? I feel like, so I think in terms of South Asian artists, one of my best friends, his name's Irvin, his artist name is Rahman. He's incredible. So he's a Bengali, Pakistani singer / rapper / producer / visual direct, like everything. He does everything. And his music I've been a fan of for years, and like we just happen to be really close. And I think that like our music kind of speaks to each other in a way. Just like The Weeknd kind of said, like, oh, like me and like Lana Del Rey's music like speaks to each other. I feel like that's what me and his music does.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have him be a part of it. There are a lot of like artists in like the kind of Middle Eastern Arab space that I'm really like drawn to, and they're actually already big. Like they don't even need my platform, but I would love to be able to perform in the same room as them and like bring out their community and bring out like our Indian community, and then just like even like some like East Asian artists too, like bring out those communities. I just think that all of us in one room together could be insane and like truly like change the space in a way it hasn't before. Because right now we're all really siloed. So I want to break that, because I think we've broken like the Indian kind of community, but now I want to break into like other kind of pocketed communities and see what we can all do together.
Yeah. I think about that a lot, just what it would mean to bring different artist communities together and cross-pollinate, like people from those other communities that would maybe get excited about your music and vice versa. What excites you about the future and how your music can extend beyond the really dedicated like Indian American and other similar people that are currently listening to it?
Honestly, like that is how I view this. Like I love that my music has reached the Indian community, and like that's great. You need the support from your community. You just do. And like I'm so happy to have that. Yeah. But I'm viewing this from like such a like holistic standpoint. I am excited for this genre to be like what it deserves to be. And like I don't want to use the word mainstream, because mainstream can construe a lot and, you know, like kind of take away the beauty of a genre. But I truly want to see this sort of music like on the radio. I do, because I just believe that it deserves a place, and I don't think it needs to be mainstreamified. I think the music itself can be mainstream because it's just beautiful. And so I'm excited to be like a pioneer of that, because there are not that many artists out there doing this right now, and it's not easy to do this. It takes time, it takes money, it takes a lot of like rejection, and just like it's just not for everyone. And like sometimes I'm like, is it even for me? And then I'm like, okay, no, it is. But like it's a lot, you know. And so I think the people who are already doing it right now, like we are the people who are really doing it. And so I'm excited to see us kind of continue to push this genre, bring more people out of the woodwork who also want to, you know, create and really be like the founders of this, you know, because it isn't out there yet. And that's the exciting part. Like that's what really fuels me. I'm like, I can't wait to like 20 years from now see where we've come with this, and like have it be like, oh yeah, of course that's on the radio. Of course, like she's performing at the Grammys. Of course he's doing that, you know, like I'm excited for that. Yeah,
I'm excited for the rest of us to be the early fans that got to experience the whole journey.
Yes, we're all gonna like, we can only do it together, honestly. It's like a group effort, and so it's so good to have like a community like this. And now I'm excited to like have Chicago people too.
Yeah. Wait, tell me more about that. What does that mean by something that you can only do together? How do you see the rest of the people around you being a part of this?
Honestly, I everything that like culture is culture, right? Culture is community, and I don't think it's possible to bring to life the type of music that I'm creating without the support of people who have been raised in that culture or are invested in learning about that culture. And so I don't like it's just not possible without people who are really advocates of the music and of the mission and of where we come from and like why we're doing what we're doing. And so that's why we need the support of our direct communities in the South Asian space, but we also need the support of people who maybe aren't in the South Asian space but are advocates of the community and want to see us shine and want to see it be our time. You know, like I see so many, I mean, I've seen the K-pop community rise up, I've seen the Latin industry rise up, I've so many artist friends who are in the Latin space and like make amazing Latin fusion music, and I am like always like, I'm like, keep doing what you're doing, and I just want it to be our time now, you know? And so I think we can all band together and make that happen, and it's already happening. And so I think it takes artist support, creative support, fan support, companies, like organizations like yourselves support. Otherwise, like we're not gonna have the resources, the sustainability, the innovation, even the thought to like do it on our own. I haven't done any of this on my own. Everything I do is like by the support of other people, you know? I make the music, but like not without the producer, not without the moral support from Cushy every 10 minutes, not without, you know, people like you who are advocating and like giving me a platform to speak about this. So it is up to like us doing everything together. And I love that because I'm a people person, so.
Love that. We're here with you for this. If you're watching this, you have an audience interacting with you, coming to your events, buying stuff from you, and tons more.
Rivet plugs into all that and tells you who your top fans are so that you can target them in a more personalized way.
I know you have to head out soon, but wanted to just wrap up by asking a little bit more about, well, understanding that you've like killed it at creating community early with the social media following you built up, and then the way that you built that around the niche and like really nostalgic experience, I think that a lot of Indians get really excited about. How would you advise artists who are maybe a few steps earlier than you to think about community building?
That's such a good question. So I think what really matters is like, I know this sounds so basic, but being just truly yourself, like bringing your identity into your brand and being as authentic as you can will allow people like us who are in the South Asian community to really connect with you. And so that's what I did. I didn't even start with posting music videos on TikTok. I started with just posting stuff about like me talking about like growing up as in an Indian community, or like random stories and anecdotes, and like connecting with people through really personal stories and like advice and things that really meant a lot to me. And I think that is what really started that first connection with my audience. And then I started doing the music stuff, which brought together the Indian and R&B influences, and they were like, okay, that's like we like that too. But I think it's really about first building the groundwork to like connect with someone. People just want to like hear things they connect with. People just want to feel like seen and heard and hear your experiences so that they feel like they can relate to someone. And that's all I did. Like I think above all, I love connecting with other people. I love getting advice from people, and I love giving advice that I don't take myself. And I think that was kind of like the brand I started first before even getting into like the music TikToks. And so I would advise other artists and just other creatives who want to build something to start with that. Just sometimes it's just speaking into a camera and talking about how you feel, you know? Sometimes it's about doing something or showing a little part of your life that like you just recorded and like organically it happened, you know, like your mom cooking roti and like you know, doing karaoke with your dad to They'll Say or something. Like things like that where people really relate to. And so I think starting with that, and then, you know, with the music, really finding your own sound, finding something that like makes the music you, because there's a lot of music out there. It's very saturated. And so that is like above all, you need to find your unique sound. What makes you a musician? What makes you an artist? What makes you like, you know, worth listening to? What is different from your music than all the other music out there? I think those two things will really allow people to naturally gravitate towards you in general. Like it just will.
Yeah.
It's like the secret recipe. Being relatable and making unique stuff.
Yeah. That's great advice. And maybe more so on the tactical end, I'm really curious about, obviously we're really excited about the way that you're using Rivet for like the show tonight and in general for fan management. What other tools are really valuable to you as you build your career?
Yeah, that's great. I feel like, I mean, up until using Rivet, I had just been using like TikTok analytics, Instagram analytics to see like where my fans are located geographically, like age, all that stuff. But I think other than that, it's really been just like utilizing the feedback that people give me through like comments. Comment sections have been so weirdly like useful for me because it's just direct feedback from my fans and from people who listen to my stuff. So it's like, oh, can you try this? Or can you do a show here? Or can you try this song? Or like, where's your shirt? Like things like that where it's like, I am literally taking that, I'm putting it into a grid, and I'm like, okay, this is like literally direct feedback from people who are commenting on my direct page and saying this is what they want, or this is what they didn't like, or this is what they liked. And so that's been a very, very big tool for me, aside from, you know, the analytics and whatnot to kind of give me like the data to know where to perform or what, you know, what age range I'm like reaching out to or who I should email, like stuff like that. But I think that's been like the most valuable thing for me so far. But now I have Rivet, which I'm excited to use because I mean, we used that for tonight, which is like, it was super helpful, especially knowing like who's going to come and like the variety of people coming. And like now we have a whole database of emails that like I can reach out to and keep in touch with and continue to create that community. So I'm excited.
Amazing. All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Of course.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
And we need to have you back another time for this.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Maybe 1 year into the future to see where we've gotten since then.
I would love that. We will definitely do that. And I'll be back in Chicago. So
amazing.
We'll make that happen.
If you're watching this, you have an audience interacting with you, coming to your events, buying stuff from you, and tons more.
Rivet plugs into all that and tells you who your top fans are so that you can target them in a more personalized way. With Rivet, you can put your fan engagement on autopilot, deepen your fan relationships, and take your sales all the way up. Join our exclusive beta today at rivet.app and take your community and creative business to the next level for free.